among Democrats about Hillary. And the more these scandals, last week the one about the foundation and foreign money, and now this email thing, and the more this goes on, I think they're all scratching their heads going, maybe we got to think about other people, and that's where this is going. I hope the Republicans don't dive into this thing, because if we dive in and go crazy over Hillary, she then can wiggle out of it by saying, it's all the vast right-wing conspiracy again. That's who's coming after me. And right now, it isn't the Republicans, it's the Democrats. So let's leave it alone, let them eat her up a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. This is coming. New York Times, Washington Post, even those
Yeah,
on MSNBC
yeah.
are hammering her. I've been asking people, and I put it on Facebook, what in the emails with Hillary, other than Benghazi. I know Trey Gowdy wants the Benghazi emails, but what would you really like to know that was about that, or see that would be in there? I was laughingly saying what she really thinks about Obama might be one of them. What about you? I mean, is there anything in there we would really care about? You think in those
Oh,
emails?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I think it could be, first of all, I think that she and Bill probably, I know that from Ed Klein, who wrote Blood Feud and wrote all these books about the Clintons and the Obamas. He told me recently, he's a friend of mine, that when Hillary was Secretary of State, Doug and Dave, she would talk on average 5 times a day to Bill Clinton. Wherever he was, she's on the phone with him all the time. What do I do about this? What do you think about that? In effect, Bill Clinton was almost running the State Department through Hillary, which will be the pattern if for some miracle she were to be the president. Bill Clinton is going to be telling her what to do. And for all her feminist nonsense, this woman does what this man tells her to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if the emails are filled with stuff like that, and all this stuff about the foreign donations.
Yeah, several people said that. We probably get some Asian emails in there for the Clinton Foundation. The other thing too, it seems to me, is very troubling is this lack of security that could have may have happened here. She may have been, using and obviously sensitive information. It wasn't in the State Department area, so therefore it wasn't protected necessarily. We don't know exactly whether anybody hacked into her email or not, but there seems to be a lack of judgment by doing that. Would you agree?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible, terrible, terrible. It's not a lack of judgment. It's a deliberate judgment to say, screw the rules. I'm doing what I want because I always can do what I want. I never get punished for it.
Well, let me throw this at you. You remember in the Star Report? Clinton was talking to Monica Lewinsky, and it was recorded by a foreign power. Remember that? It was in one of those
Yeah,
non-secure lines.
yeah.
We never found out who did it, but everybody thought the Israelis were the ones that knew about it. It could have been blackmail material against the president. What about if she says something about Obama, which the Clintons don't like Obama? What if something like that, the blackmail material being in there?
Well, I think it's very likely, and I think it's very likely that this server that she used, which is her home server in Chappaqua, New York, that she got hacked at any moment as Secretary of State is very likely. When she went to China, when she went to Russia, they would try to hack her system and could have blackmailed her or blackmailed other people with information in there. There's no telling what the true story of this thing is. That's why you got to follow the rules, because the State Department, by the way, has been hacked for the last 6 months, but they have much, much better security than a private home server in Chappaqua, New York is going to have. And so it's very probable that she and Bill were hacked, and God knows what's going on with that stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, maybe there's a reason why they're not doing certain things. While she was Secretary of State, maybe that's it, and it could be that you're right. I mean, North Korea hacked Sony for heaven's sakes. I mean, it's not impossible that she could have gotten her email hacked.
Or it could be even subtle, like the Russians or the Chinese say they hack in there and they see what it is she needs and wants. Says to Bill, well, I need this, I need that, and they give it to her and ingratiate themselves with her in return for it. I mean, there's just no telling. I mean, we know the Clintons have an insatiable desire for money. They are money grubbers like we've never seen. And that's the way to get the Clintons. Like, Doug Schoen, who's on Political Insiders with me, he's worked for Bill Clinton for years. Doesn't anymore, but he was his pollster and all. And he told me last year, he said, well, right now, the way to get to the Clintons is to throw a dinner in New York and honor Chelsea. If you give her an award, you ingratiate yourself with the Clintons, and you're inside Clinton world for a while. So, knowing that, there's no telling what was done. Money given to Chelsea, awards given to Chelsea, all in effect to suck up to Hillary and Bill Clinton.
So NBC pays Chelsea $600,000 a year, really, to do one report, right?
To do one report.
Yeah.
And what did they really get in return for that? Did they get an interview with Hillary that they wouldn't have had otherwise? There's stuff like that that's incredible. And they've gotten away with it for 30 years and keep getting away with 25 years, and they keep getting away with it.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like what you're saying here, you get to the Clintons, you may want access. I mean, Hillary might be the president of the United States. It's possible. So you kind of work those angles. And
that's why all these companies are paying her $200,000-$300,000 a speech. They're not paying to hear her say anything great. They're what I call an advanced bribe. They're paying her now to get a favor later from her. If she's president, and Goldman Sachs paid her $400,000 to do 2 speeches. They're not stupid at Goldman Sachs. They want access to her when she's president, and she will jolly well remember that $400,000 and probably a nice lunch or something that they gave her. She'll remember it when she's in the Oval Office, is their thinking. Hopefully she's never in the Oval Office, but that's what she's thinking, and they're thinking.
All right, hold on. We'll be right back. John LeBoutillier is our guest, former congressman, co-host of the show Political Insiders. Here's Sunday night, 7:30 on the Fox News Channel. Got some thoughts? Give us a call. We'll get you in line and get you on the air with us here. And let's take a look at the forecast. Icy area still possible this morning. Then sunshine. High today 38, low tonight 18 to 24. High on Saturday 56, high on Sunday 62. Spring-like temperatures are trying to make its way into the area. Let's go to Rick with a traffic update.
All right, thanks, Doug, from the Triangle Traffic Center. Looking at an accident on inbound New Bern Avenue. It's at the Beltline. There were 2 accidents in the same spot, just one left. This one's at the light to 440, blocking the right 2 lanes. You get by, you got to move to the left. Further west of the RTP, that looks good for you. No issues. 4 minutes. Harrison Avenue to 540. For eastbound in Durham, also moving well from Highway 751 to the Durham Freeway. US 1 northbound, an easy in, 6 minutes from Highway 55 through the 40 ramps. And the outer Beltline 440 west moving well, Capitol Boulevard through Wayne Avenue. Our next report in less than 10 minutes. I'm Rick DeFranco, Talk Radio 850, traffic on the 2s.
Oh, man, what a great idea to get everybody out here to Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School for a break.
Yep, it's usually a lunch meeting or another golf outing. It's hard to believe we're only a half an hour from the Triangle.
Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School, where you can enjoy quality time outdoors with friends and business associates. Close to the Triangle, but far removed from the stress of everyday life. For all the details, go to deepriver.net. What a blast!
Glaucoma, the leading cause of blindness, remains undiscovered in 50% of its victims because of its silent progression. Known as the sneak thief of sight, glaucoma is treatable. Join the Lions fight to save your sight. Schedule a dilated pupil exam every 2 years. This message brought to you by Lions Clubs International. For more information, call 1-800-7-4SIGHT. Lions Clubs International, for all the world to see.
We're your car radio's talk preset. Talk Radio 850. Doug Kellett on The Morning Drive on Talk Radio 850. Call in at 919-860-9783.
816, John LeBoutillier is with us here, 919-860-9783 if you'd like to join in. New Fox News poll, majority of Americans say Obama is not honest. And also 54%, only 54% believe Obama is a patriot. That's a Fox News poll that's out. We'll talk to John about that. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu's speech before Congress this week about Iran. We'll get into that. But let's go to John in Raleigh next. John, you're on the show this morning. Good to have you.
Hey, I just would like to know maybe if you and your guests would have any thoughts about earlier this week. The hot news topic was this 17-year-old girl that told an 18-year-old boy to kill himself, and he did it. She's being prosecuted for murder or manslaughter or something. Well, what about the father of Michael Brown, the gentle cop attacking giant from Ferguson, Missouri, when he got up and said, "Burn this bitch down," and MF, kill the MF and white people, and all this kind of stuff? You know, why isn't he being prosecuted? Or any of the looters that facial recognition technology has identified?
I think some of them are. I think John, but go ahead, John. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about it. You know, first of all, the kid is dead. So how you prove what he was influenced by, I don't know. I am happy though that the Justice Department has totally discounted now all this nonsense that the police officer shot the kid after the kid put his hands up and was surrendering and saying, "Please don't shoot," and the cop shot him anyway. That has now been by the Obama Justice Department said that's an alternate narrative that's not true. So that's good.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the hands up, don't shoot. It was a myth to begin with. John, I'm talking to caller John. I think, John, I think I read where they were looking at, some of that activity. I haven't heard about any arrests or anything, but I think they are investigating it, and they should actually.
I think that what will happen is they'll say that because a certain percentage of people of color are prosecuted, it's racist if you don't prosecute a certain number of white people, because I mean that's what they're going for.
Well, I understand looking at the report that came out from the Justice Department, and it's always about percentages of, of one race or another. But the people who were out there looting and burning, I mean, I watched it on TV. I don't think anybody has any doubts on, the ethnicity of most of the people who were out there.
Right, but because they're black, they'll get a free pass.
Well, I hope you're wrong about that, and really but the problem, look, the reason you feel that way, I'm sure, is because of Eric Holder, but that shouldn't be the case because businesses were ruined and destroyed, people's lives were altered, and the police should arrest him without the thought about that. Hey, thanks for the call. We'll continue our discussion here. John LeBoutillier is on with us. John, what about this Fox News poll? Majority of Americans do not believe Obama is honest. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your health insurance. I do remember him saying that.
Yeah, I haven't seen this poll, but I only heard it when you started mentioning it a minute ago, Doug. And I'm happy to hear this number because he hasn't been honest about a lot of things. But I also think if you ask in any poll this question, do you think any politicians are honest? You probably get the same number saying no. And that's why Hillary, for instance, gets away with the thing we're talking about, because she and Bill are scoundrels who lie all the time. And you wonder why they get away with it. Well, if you ask the people, they think all politicians are scoundrels who lie all the time. So when you get an instance where they're a scoundrel and they lie all the time, the public goes, "Yeah, well, I already knew that."
Yeah, so it's a yarner, right? Or maybe some of it is there's so many lies that it's hard to keep up with it. I think that's part of it too.
I definitely think that's true. Yeah.
With whether it's President Obama or anybody else. But
I think that's sort of why Reagan stood out in a sea of mediocrity. Reagan was way above everybody because he was honest. Yeah, I'm sure he lied occasionally, but I mean, he was honest and he was better and he seemed better and different than all the rest of them. And since that time, since the Reagan era, both parties have been looking for the next Reagan, and they can't find them. obviously, because there'll never be another Reagan. But there could be another great leader who will come along. Who knows who he or she might be?
Yeah, that brings up an interesting discussion we had yesterday. In fact, I got back from California Sunday, my second trip out to the Reagan Library, and we got to talking about candidates who can win a 50-state race. You know, Reagan won 49 and a half in his second in his reelection bid. Is there anybody out there that could run a 50-state strategy? And do you see anybody out there like that?
Well, I don't see anybody now, but it doesn't mean that someone couldn't come along. I mean, from the Republican point of view, to win these excessively blue states like California is going to be very hard. The country's changed since Reagan. California was leaning Republican, obviously, when he was around. He'd been the governor. Since '92, we don't have a prayer in California. And there are no Republicans left there, no office, statewide office holders, nothing. I don't know that a Republican could win 50 states, but you don't have to win 50 to win the country. But in the popular vote, the Republicans have not won the popular vote for president since '88.
Yeah, and
that's a bad sign.
Is it in part because of Reagan signing the amnesty program in '86? Like some people say that's why we lost California. Do you think that's part of it?
I could be. I mean, I know there's been white flight from California where Republican-leaning voters have gone to Idaho and Oregon and Arizona and Nevada and everything. And the demographics of California have changed, whether it's from Simpson-Mazzoli, which was the bill you're talking about that the president signed. I don't know. I'm sure maybe that contributed to it. But also, California has become a high-tax state. They've driven the middle class out of the state. And that's why the state's been virtually broke for years. The tax base is deteriorating because the working people have left.
Yeah, exactly. Even Hollywood is leaving.
Left,
yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, there may be a day coming, kind of like the way Detroit is, where cars are not being made in Detroit, really. It may be a time when movies aren't made in Hollywood anymore. John LeBoutillier is with us. We'll be right back. Traffic and weather every 10 minutes, of course. We got a high today of 38. Let's go to Rick. Traffic update this morning.
All right. Thanks, Doug, from the Triangle Traffic Center. Looking at a new accident on Highway 55 near Highway 64 in Apex. You may have to work your way around that. Shouldn't be a major deal for you. Another accident on inbound New Bern Avenue at the Belt Line. It's right at the light to 440, blocking the right lane. And there's a little bit of traffic there, but, you just got to, for the most part, move to the left and go slow. You'll be fine. 540 westbound, looking good from Six Forks Road to Leesville Road. Issue-free. The Outer Belt Line, 440 west, looked pretty good as well. Wake Forest Road around to Glenwood Avenue. And quick check of 40 West. This looks easy. Airport Boulevard to Davis Drive, no issues. Our next report in less than 10 minutes. I'm Rick DeFranco, Talk Radio 850, traffic on the twos.
Make living in the light with Ann Graham Lotz your place to be each week.
We've got all the stuff, but could it be we're in danger of missing the message? Then what's the message?
Living in the Light with Ann Graham Lotz. Make it a regular part of your commitment to the study of God's Word.
Living in the Light, Sunday morning at 8:30 on News Radio 680 WPTF.
Last Friday, Allison Cohn made her status FBF to a pic of me as a pipsqueak. Awkward. It got 59 likes and 12 comments. Impressive, Allie. Geico also has a comment on your Flashback Friday. Did you know Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years? Bet you didn't even know they made cars back then. And if you think your flashback is awkward, you should see our pic. Hashtag blurry. Hashtag over 75 years of savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Right now, you may be thinking about that bagel you're going to get. Sesame, maybe Asiago. Hot out of the toaster and smothered in ooey gooey cream cheese. Well, wake up, because you should be thinking about switching to Geico and saving hundreds of dollars on car insurance. They have 24/7 access to help answer any of your questions. Can a bagel do that? No, because it's just bread shaped like a circle.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today.
The Triangle's hottest talk. Talk Radio 850. Now, more of the Morning Drive with Doug Kellett on Talk Radio 850.
John LeBoutillier is with us, as always, on Fridays. You can read his blog at bootsblast.com, co-host of the FNC's Political Insiders program, 7:30 Sunday nights on the Fox News Channel. We were talking just a moment ago about who could win a 50-state race. You know, it seems to me that I know it's early to talk presidential politics, but just you look at the map, and right now Democrats really only need to win Ohio or Florida, right? I mean, if they hold everything else, you got to get somebody who can do something about the Midwest. It seems to me, John. I don't know about the Northeast is ever going to be any chance there, but certainly the Midwest anyway, right?
I agree with you. That's why I think there will be one of these governors. Scott Walker's the leading guy at the moment, maybe Kasich from Ohio, or maybe Pence from Indiana. There's going to be a Midwestern governor figuring into this thing before it's over. Has to.
Yeah,
John,
I mean, go ahead, Dave. I didn't know you wanted to get in on this. Go ahead.
John, I was going to ask you, do you think it'll be the vice president part of the ticket or the presidential part of the ticket?
I think it'll be the presidential part of the ticket. I think that the Republican Party is changing as we speak. And the establishment is trying to stuff an establishment candidate down our throat. So the three guys starting out were Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney, Chris Christie. Chris Christie's imploding. Romney obviously announced he's not running. So the guy at the moment is Jeb Bush. And if you read the story in today's New York Times about Jeb going today and tomorrow to Iowa, and it's a fascinating article because they've gone out and they've interviewed Republicans in Iowa about Jeb Bush, and including some who were for his brother years ago out there. It's totally different. They're all against Jeb. They're not personally, but they're against having another Bush. They're against the establishment. They want new people, new ideas. It's changing right in front of us. So I think that what's happening today, this is March 6th, 6 months from now, the Republican race for president is going to look completely different than it does today. Because I think there'll be other candidates coming in. Some of these guys are going to bomb out. The whole thing is very alive because the party is in turmoil.
What about Donald Trump? We were talking about him earlier this week. Come on. What about the Donald?
What if he does get in there? Because there's some word, John, that he's even. I'm glad you brought that up because there is the word that maybe he's ready to do it now. He's turned over much of Trump business to his son here.
Well, I don't listen. I like Trump as an entertainer. He's always been very personally nice to me. So I don't mean to attack the man personally, but he's not a serious candidate for president. And neither is Ben Carson, and none of these guys to me who have not spent their career in the political world. Unfortunately, that's what it's become. Used to be you didn't need to be in the government to run for office, and you were a citizen legislator or whatever. But it's changed. This is a mammoth operation. The federal government is huge, and you put a guy in who can't run it, and look what happens. Witness what's going on in our country today.
Yeah, it's also better to have a governor, I guess, especially of a big state, right? Who somebody has had to deal with because other than maybe foreign affairs, as far as well, not foreign affairs, but national defense, you basically have in a microcosm, you really have to deal with about everything you would in the White House.
Well, whatever. I mean, I just think people have to understand politics is a whole different career than business or the law or anything else. And every decision you make, we all have decisions we have to make. You come into somewhere, an office, say, if you work in an office, and you have 10 phone messages waiting for you from people who've called you. Okay, you got to make a quick decision. Of those 10, who do I call first, second, third, fourth? What do I do with each of those calls? Those are actually political decisions. Do I even call so-and-so back? Do I have my staff call so-and-so back? All of this is learned over many years of politics, of how to handle people. how to convince people to do what they don't want to do, all sorts of stuff that people who are not in politics don't have a clue about. And now, Bill Clinton he was governor of a small little state. He was completely competent as president. There's no doubt he knew how to run the federal government. He couldn't run himself. The whole womanizing thing undid him and will ruin him for his whole legacy. But he was competent to run the country. I don't think Barack Obama has a clue how to run anything.
Yeah, Clinton did bring with him people who also had expertise and in the past of being involved in these things, where Obama brings in a bunch of academic types that really haven't done anything. Yeah. Hold on, we'll be right back. Tony and Carrie, hang on. We'll get your call on the air with John as soon as we come right back. 8:32, traffic and weather every 10 minutes. On the show this morning, partly cloudy. High today of 38 degrees. Rick's got our traffic update.
All right, thanks very much, Doug from the Triangle Traffic Center. A couple of incidents to tell you about now. One is in Apex, an accident on Highway 55 near Highway 64. You can get by there, but a lot of commotion. It's going to grab your attention. You see all the flashing lights. Another flashing light deal for you from a crash on inbound New Bern Avenue at the Beltline. It's right at the light to 440, blocking the right lane. You got to move over to the left to get by. It's not a major deal, but again, it'll grab your attention. Now in South Raleigh, 40 westbound, you normally get a little bit busy from Lake Wheeler Road through Gorman Street. Didn't happen today. It's wide open right now. And Durham Freeway northbound is also in excellent shape for you from 40 to Briggs Avenue. Our next report in less than 10 minutes. I'm Rick DeFranco, Talk Radio 850, Traffic on the Twos.
Wouldn't we all like to look as good as we feel? I'm here with Dr. Suji from the Spa Lafayette. Dr. Suji, can you tell us about minimally invasive procedures available at the Spa Lafayette that can help all of us look as good as we feel?
From the medical aspect, I do liposuction, fat grafting, skin tightening. My forte would be the neck and jaw area, the bra strap area for women who have a little bit of fat around the bra strap. In general, resurfacing with a Fraxel, reversing acne scars and hyperpigmentation, rejuvenating the face, offering products such as Botox and Dysport and filler.
How about liver spots?
That's hyperpigmentation due to aging and sun damage. Most of the time, you'll find it on your hands and on your face, particularly left side of the face.